Ferrall has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
The Ferrall Coast to Coast Open Championship preview show. Mike Carver here with you, of course, as we get ready for the 153rd edition of the Open Championship, heading back to Royal Portrush this week, our fourth and final major of the year. And it is good to have the entire Golf Wednesday crew with us as we get ready for this week at Royal Portrush. Of course, Mike Carver, Keith Stewart from Read the Line is with us. Our own Brady Kannon, our own Cam Stewart, the Prime Minister. The Quad Box is back for another major. Gentlemen, it is good to see you, as always, here as we get ready for, honestly, what, for me, I mean, I could say, I know everybody loves the Masters, and it is the prime event. It's the first major of the year. It's Augusta. It's all of those things. But I would have to put this as 1B, at least on my list, just because of how different it is from everything else that goes on throughout the year. Let's get things cooking. We'll go to Keith first. Keith Stewart from Read the Line. Keith, good to see you, as always, my man. I'm sure you share my love, especially with that sweater of the Open Championship.
Andy,
well, you know, Mike, it's great to be with you. Brady, of course. Pleasure to be in your presence. And my brother from another mother, Cam, the Prime Minister. This sweater was for you, my friend. You know, we're going across the pond. You and I, we've not quite yet been knighted, but, you know, our Sir status is coming after what we put up with the ladies last week in France. So I'm all for the Open Championship. Yeah. I love early morning golf. And I love the fact that the golf is just so different than what we normally see over here. The target practice that we see over here in the States. I love the ground game, and I can't wait to get into it, guys.
Absolutely. Brady Kannon is with us, fresh off of breaking the course record at Kapalua last week when he was in Hawaii. He now has his sights set on Royal Portrush. Hi, Brady. How are you?
I'm great, man. And I 100% endorse what you guys are saying. You know, I always say my favorite major in April is the Masters, and my favorite major in July, if you ask me the question this time of year, it's the Open Championship. I just absolutely adore this tournament. And it's also my wife's favorite week because I sleep on the couch for 4 nights in a row. So that works out well for both of us. But this is fantastic stuff. And I'm happy to be here once again doing it with you guys. The show, you know, it was awesome for the U.S. Open. Let's do it again here for the British.
Absolutely. And we know that the Prime Minister, Cam Stewart, he's always burning the candle at both ends. So a 2 a.m. East tee-off for the opening round on Thursday. That's not going to budge you, Cam. You'll be there.
You kidding me? We finished Sports Rage. I keep the TV on, little Australian horse racing, right into the golf. You got it, Carver. I'm going to tell you something, buddy. I love this event. You talk about the Masters. Keith gets to go to all the beautiful courses, and Brady covers golf. Going to Augusta was one thing. That was my bucket list stuff, and I got to do it. But you talk about the U.S. Open and the Open Championship are my favorite tournaments. The TV coverage is great. You get up in the morning, you watch it all the way through. And to Keith's point, I love guys who use the Texas wedge. You got to be creative here. You can use all sorts of shots, every club in your bag. This is old school golf. It's real golf. Love it.
It is real golf. There's nothing like the Open Championship. It'll always be the British Open to me. Keith, why don't we start with this? Of course, we always like to talk about the course. We like to talk about the weather, especially at a major like this. I think that the weather probably plays as big a role as it does, not just in any major, but any tournament period throughout our entire calendar. What is the early look here for Portrush as we get set for the 153rd?
Well, Mike, you know, leading up into this, they have been very dry over there in the United Kingdom. We saw it last week over there at the Scottish Open. You know, the Renaissance Club, they had a lot of bounce to it, a lot of dust at impact when those guys were hitting the ball. And you know what? It looks pretty green over there in Ireland, but the surfaces and the reports that we're getting already is that it's definitely firm and fast. The problem is that we expect a bunch of rain coming in this week. They've already suspended play. On the first day of the week, that was Monday. In the afternoon, they had to clear out the crowds and the guys because a storm came through. We're going to keep getting these pocket storms all week. It looks like Thursday through Sunday, they predict somewhere in the ballpark of about an inch of rain total. It's going to be tough to figure out those waves. Remember, it's not really an AM PM here. They just run all the guys off the first hole, from start to finish each day. But there is going to be some consideration like we had last year in Troon. But right now, the weather, mid-60s, which over there is like a heat wave. And then we're definitely looking at some damp conditions. The good news is for everybody is that the wind is somewhere in the mid-teens, even along the northern coastline there in the Giants Causeway. It's going to be somewhat tame, but the guys are going to get wet. Rain suits are coming out.
Well, that's a good thing because I prefer that there's lots of lashing rain. It's not the Open Championship without a little bit of wet weather, a little bit of conditions. You've got to have some of that. Brady, let's talk about maybe some comparisons here. Of course, we know that the Open Championship moves around. We have at this point, I guess you could say with a few that have been knocked off, a 5 to 7 course rotation that they use for this. As far as Royal Portrush goes, we haven't been here since the Irish Bear took it down back in 19. What would you say, Brady, maybe of the other open courses would you compare most to Portrush, if at all?
Yeah, I think Portrush is actually fairly unique. It's a Harry Colt design, designed it in 1932. The course has been around for a long time before that, but he came in and really tweaked it. They call this his masterpiece. A lot of people say he's maybe the greatest golf designer, in history. Did Hamilton up near Cam there, north of the border. You can look at maybe some comps with that one. 2019 and 2024 host to the Canadian Open. Also did Royal Liverpool, where we just were a couple of years ago. 2017, Martin Ebert comes in, kind of the open doctor, kind of the Tom Doak or the, who's the guy that Gil Hance, the guy that comes in and does all these redesigns. Martin Ebert is kind of the guy that does that across the pond. And he put his hands on this one as well. Also Liverpool, Troon. So, there are some similarities as far as designers. Harry Colt also did Wentworth, which, we see the BMW PGA Championship every year as a part of the DP World Tour. But Portrush really kind of stands alone. You talked about it, Cam, the Texas wedge. A lot of these greens are elevated at Portrush, so there's not as much bump and run possibility. Certainly there are some, but not on every single hole. Very small greens. You look at St. Andrews and you have these double greens. This is really kind of a polar opposite, I think, of St. Andrews. As far as comps, I think, again, with the design and the Ebert influence, you've got Liverpool, Royal St. George's with a lot of the mounding. We've got big dunes at Royal Portrush. As far as, some American courses that may be similar, I think maybe Pebble Beach, with the wind and the rain and the small greens, and then also Sawgrass with all the mounding and uneven lies. So I don't know if there's great matches, but I think you can probably draw from about a handful that makes some sense this week.
Yeah, I'd expect that the greens will be in excellent condition, probably in better condition than Rory thought the Renaissance Club greens were on Sunday. I know Rory had some issues with some of the greens at the Renaissance, Cam, and we love to party at this place. I mean, the Irish Bear is our defending champ, at least at Portrush, from the last time we were here, and he partied for like 6 months straight after he won at this place, Cam. We love stuff like that.
We do, but the first question was, "Hey, Shane, how are the Guinness?" It's like, dude, yeah, I partied for a while. I won my national championship, you jerk. What, you think I'm a piss tank who goes to the pub every day and gets wasted and fires 65s? They were talking about it on Golf Channel. That's the first question they're talking about the guys drinking. Don't worry, he'll be ready to roll. But Carver, I'll tell you, if we won the Claret Judd, we'd be partying for a month. 1 week, not enough, buddy. And of course we drink from it, like the Stanley Cup. Get your head out of your you-know-what. We'd go nuts, Carver. I'd sleep with that bad boy. Caress it.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah, you gotta.
Come on.
That's one. It's a very long celebration if you end up winning that trophy. Really, any of them it would be. But so we get you all set up here for the Open Championship. We got a lot to do here on this show. We'll do some outrights. We'll do some props. We've got the crazy bets again. We'll go through everything you need to get ready for the 153rd Open Championship. We'll come back though and look at the top. Scotty Scheffler, Rory. Who's the favorite here this week for the Open Championship? The Coast to Coast Open Preview Special. We're back after this.
Like Montreal, has a new coach. Like I might be the new coach of Montreal in 2 weeks. Like they have a new coach all the time, and they always have, oh yeah, we're playing a new system. And they have a bunch of 20-year-old players and kids on the pitch. Anyone that's good, they sell and they trade for money all the time. Like it's a real disaster. But they hit a new low tonight, getting eliminated by the Forge.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
That is the idea. It really is for in-game live. You said it. The home team, who's a double-digit or close to it anyway, favorite, and get off to a bad start and actually have them trailing by 5, 6, 7 to the point where you get it at Pick'em. And I don't know how many times. I'd like to know a stat of how many times a team that's been favored by double digits, trailed by double digits, and actually won the game. I bet it's a lot.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
You've got issues up and down here. The bullpen is falling apart, to put it nicely. And have you seen the schedule for the Yankees for the rest of the month of July here? We have Seattle, then we have the Cubs, then you have Atlanta, then you have Toronto again in Toronto. That really didn't go all that well this week. And then you have Philadelphia and Tampa. Good luck to the Yankees in July here.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
They're still trying to throw Dalton Knecht's name in trades, and I don't even know if he's viewed as a positive asset still.
And that's a crazy thing. Dalton Knecht, if you look at FanDuel, Dalton Knecht 20-plus points at plus 120. He's giving you no indication that he's that right there. I mean, Kevin, I would be more likely if we knew we were going to get the minutes. Bronny James, 10-plus points at plus 118.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
And we are back, the Coast to Coast Open Championship Preview Show, as we have got the quad box for you. Mike Carver here with you, Keith Stewart from Read the Line, Brady Kannon, Cam Stewart, all getting ready for the Open Championship at Royal Portrush this week. All right, we are going to give you lots of picks later on, but as we know, let's talk about the chalk at the top. And as it's been for every major so far this year, Scottie Scheffler and Rory McIlroy are at the top. Now, they have each won a major this year as well. But as we head in, we've seen Scottie this year, guys, at these majors in the 350 to 4 range. I've even seen some 5s this morning, plus 500s at a few spots, which is obviously the longest we have gotten from Scheffler. Rory's been in the 7 to 8 range. I guess we could start it for you this way, Brady. Out of these two guys at the top of the board, who we're going to try to go after this week, who do you give the better shot to for ruining our week? We'll start with you, Brady.
Yeah, I've actually seen Scottie as high as 6 to 1, and that's out here in Las Vegas. And I think that's a pretty good number on the best player in the world. Now, he's never finished he's never finished top 5 at an Open Championship. And like we've talked about, it's a different brand of golf. He's talked about it himself. It's very different. We know what happened to Rory here in 2019. A lot of times we think about home field advantage in football, home court advantage, basketball. I think home games in golf can go the other way. And I think that happened to McIlroy. So much spotlight, so much attention, so much expectation and pressure on a guy in front of his friends and family and the home crowd. And that's really a lot to live up to. And we see it, stateside, across the pond, wherever you are. I think these guys that oftentimes we want to go, oh my gosh, he's a member there. Of course he's going to win this tournament. It doesn't really work that way, it seems like, in golf. I really think Scottie would be the one of the two that could upset the apple cart here more for us if you're not going to back a favorite. Now, you look at what McIlroy did last week. Had a great week at the Scottish Open. Probably should have won the darn thing, but was not able to catch Goddard up on Sunday. But you also look at that leaderboard, and it was loaded with bombers. And that's something to note going forward for the Scottish Open. Bombers seem to do pretty well there. I don't think that's the case here at Portrush. I would favor accuracy off the tee over distance. So, again, I think Scottie is the bigger threat to take this one home as far as the favorites are concerned.
Yeah, it's funny, Keith. Like, people always talk like, oh, well, the Open Championship is Scotty's worst major. Oh, yeah? Is it? I mean, I know he's only played it 4 times, but T8, T21, T23, T7. It's not like he's got 3 missed cuts and a 15. Like, it's not – he's been around the place on Saturday and Sunday in the last 4 years.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, Mike. But before we even get into all of this, it's really important. A lot of times we find ourselves, a quick PSA, we're always chasing numbers, right? We really need to see, and everyone that's out there that's watching this, you really need to see how the tee times are going to play out and the pairings, and then really look at the weather. I would really recommend that people wait until Wednesday afternoon, even if you see some sort of incredible number. I mean, you could go bet something, and then when the weather comes out and we learn more on Wednesday afternoon, that bet, it's not going to win you any money. Doesn't matter whether you got a great number or not. So I just really think that, I love this discussion about Rory and Scheffler and who's going to be the guy. But at the end of the day, first things first, wait for those pairings and really try to figure out what's going to happen with these weather waves, because last year it absolutely killed people. That Friday afternoon wave where those guys went off the front 9 and they were 3 shots worse than the guys that went off in the morning. And that really, John Rahm was like one of the few guys that made it through and still top 10. It really was the difference maker for all of our wagering for the weekend. It was terrible. Now, for your question, Scotty versus Rory, I'm going to lean towards Rory. The guy's had disappointment in his career before. Last year at Pinehurst, that was a tough loss. It's not like the type of loss that Cam and I witness all the time, but that was a pretty tough loss. And then he comes back a couple weeks later in Scotland and he finishes 4th. It seems like the Renaissance Club is a great reset spot for Rory. And now all of a sudden he gets to come back to a place where he shot 79 in the opening round after we hadn't seen golf in the Open Rota in over 60 years at Royal Portrush, the club he grew up at. The club he set the course record at, 61, when he was 16 years old, right? I think this guy is absolutely living his best life this week because he knows he gets a second chance at a venue that he really didn't deserve after the first time. And I think that he's going to be much more calm and organized this week. And, when Scotty starts playing the fair police over in Scotland and the greens don't match up and the fescue and everything, he's in his own head. I'm going to roll with Rory this week. If you're asking me those two, which one's the bigger threat?
Yeah, Keith, and Rory had one of the first media sessions there on Monday morning very early. And he even said he's had this week circled at the start of the year, even more so maybe than the Masters, which we know how well that turned out for him. Cam, have you seen enough from Rory, who looked like after that Masters win, it was kind of I'm not going to say a complete letdown couple months, but you could tell his head was somewhere else. You see him refocus at the Renaissance Club last week. You believer in Rory or Scotty if you had to pick one?
I think it's a push, but I'll tell you one thing, guys, shop around. I'm seeing some numbers. I see Scotty Scheffler top 10 minus 130. I'm literally going to the bank after the show to hit the ATM and putting more on. Like that line is going to go up. We're seeing 175s. I went to another book. It was minus 200. You're telling me? Guy brought his D game last week and shot T8 in Scotland. He wasn't even that great, and he still finishes in the top 10. It's ridiculous. So say he's actually focusing there. I think it's a great number. Brady talked about it. 6-1 is a great price. I do think Rory's going to be there, but people are just kind of looking at Scheffler going, hey, links golf. Well, whatever. He didn't even really, Carver, you saw him. He didn't even play that great. He missed putts, and he's still there in the end. Imagine he brings his A game. He will win this tournament. So Scotty Scheffler, you talk about not top 5s, top 10s, minus 130. Shop around, people. That is one of the best bets I've seen. I smashed it. I'm going to smash it again. Hopefully the Brinks truck's there because I'm taking out all I can. He will finish top 10.
I agree with you on that. I think if you see a minus 130 for him to finish top 10, something that he does really in his sleep most of the time, I'll be there with you. But as far as winning the whole thing, I think Keith made a great point. It feels like these links courses are some of the ones that, you're watching the broadcast. You don't normally see Scotty throwing his hands in the air, pointing at the ground, doing all these other things. This is like these kind of courses do that to him. And I think that that's something that even though the results aren't awful with some 20s and an 8 and a 17, it's something to keep an eye on going into this week. All right, we'll come back. We have a lot more to do. The Ferrall Coast to Coast Open Championship Preview Show. Carver, Stewart, Kannon. We're back after this.
I say, you crank that Soldier Boy, right? You Darvish back on the mound. Haven't seen this guy in a minute right now. Yeah, man, crank it, man. Get it going up. Get the high. Yeah, let's go. Crank that Soldier Boy up here. Yep. Yeah, I mean, come on, man. That was big back then. Where were you? Senior high school? Or maybe even in grade school?
Bar mitzvah slate. In the bar mitzvah slate each and every weekend. The young Benny Steve was out there hitting it.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Do they practice in a public park? And Ferrall and Lodge said, no, they have a little facility, but it's open to the public. No, it's a public park. Like, it basically, like, there's like kids playing basketball, like, yeah, no, it's bad. I looked, I'm like, dear God, like, I thought, I'm like, man, I bet a lot of money on these guys. I can't believe this is where they practice. Like, yeah.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Obviously, he didn't do great in the last two majors, and we're going home here. We're going to Northern Ireland, Royal Portrush. This is Rory's the reason why we're going here. Got off to a rough start, throwing his tee shot out of bounds back in 2019. I think he'll be ready. Not yet ready to call him the winner. I still have a couple of days before I do that, but it is a home game for him. And as you saw, based on this weekend, he is playing well.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I would be looking to get him in dynasty or keeper leagues. If I'm out of a league and I'm looking to rebuild for the next years ahead, that's where I'm looking. Yuri Perez is a special young pitcher that we're going to be talking about in that Paul Skeens, in that Tariq Skubal, in that grouping of guys. I think he can be that good. He's only 22 years old. He's the boy. So you're getting a situation here where Yuri Perez eventually is going to grow into that man of a pitcher.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
And we are back, the Ferrall Coast to Coast Open Championship Preview Show. We get you ready for Royal Portrush this week. Mike Carver, Keith Stewart, Cam Stewart, and Brady Kannon. Let's talk about some guys who can maybe get out to a fast start. Of course, we love to mess around. I know me and Cam do. Brady does as well. Keith, I bet you he does dabble in a little bit, and he just doesn't tell us. But first-round leaders are a very fun way to start the tournament off on Thursdays. Keith, why don't you give me a little something about fast starters at the Open Championship?
All right, Mike, here's the thing, and this is for the three of you guys that kind of set up, because I know you love to dabble here, but in doing my research, something unique has popped up. You look at the last couple of champions, right? Last year, Xander, he shoots 69 in the opening round. He's tied fourth after one. You go back a year after that, Harmon, tied fourth with 67. Year before that, Cam Smith, in 2022 at St. Andrews, 67 again, tied third. 2021, Colin Morikawa. I know he's Cam's favorite guy in the world right now. Mine too.
Love him.
He shoots 67. He's T9. And then go back to the Irish Bear, because we got to skip 2020. We go back to 2019. Lowry shoots 67 in the opening round. I think that whoever you're betting on to win this week, you better take a look at this guy, if not for your first round leader, but top 5 or top 10 on that board, because those boards you can get some really good numbers. I mean, you look at Rory right away. He's a guy that's plus 250 for a top 10 for a first round. I'd love to hear what you guys think after hearing that.
Cam, let's go to you next with the first round leaders, because me and you go nuts with them every Wednesday on Golf Wednesday on C2C. Give me some guys, Cam, you think could start fast here at Portrush.
Well, I'm thinking guys who finished pretty strong on Sunday or had good tournaments too. Like, Sepp Strack is a guy that's really interesting me. He's been bet down on some sites from like 100 to 100. I don't know. I know Mayo got him at 100. I see him 60, 65. I think this guy's going to come out of the gate hot. He had a couple bad holes in Scotland, but he could be very dangerous. How do I not go with my namesake, Carver? He saved my butt at the U.S. Open. Cameron Forever Young loves Open Championship golf. Don't be fooled. This guy number's good at 75 out of the gate. But Keith brings up great points about the guys near the top of the leaderboard, too. Probably going to be there in the end. I think that's fantastic, Keith. But I'm going to go with some bombs there, Carver. Maybe a couple guys on the European Tour as well. Nikolai Højgaard. I got the wrong Højgaard again last week. I had R. Rasmus instead of N. Nikolai. Watch out for him. A great showing in Scotland. He could be there after round one.
Brady, anybody that you're eyeing here potentially on Thursday to get out to a good start?
Well, it was a couple weeks ago, and you're right. I like to just dabble in the first round leader market every now and then. It's really a tough bet to hit. It's one of the biggest hold percentages for the books, but it's also a ton of fun. Rooting some guy home on Thursday, and I thought I was going to get there a couple weeks ago with Victor Perez. I bet on Perez a couple times recently. Bet him on for the Scottish Open as well. Just missed out on cashing a top 40 finish with him, but he does get out to hot starts. He's number 9 on the PGA Tour for first round scoring. He's won the Dunhill Links Championship before. He's a very good, experienced links player. So he might be another guy to take a look at. I can tell you here at BetMGM, most tickets bet on first round leader. Number 1, Rory McIlroy. Number 2, guy that's always first round leader at the Masters, Justin Rose. Number 3, Scotty Scheffler. Number 4, last week's hero, Chris Goddard. That's 1 through 4 most bet first round leader tickets at BetMGM.
Yeah, Justin Rose, I think, is going to be a very popular. I do have some Justin Rose stuff myself later on in the show when we get there, but I could see him being very popular, not just because of the Masters, but let's also remember what he did last year at the Open Championship with, of course, where he finished, and he had a great Masters too. There's a few guys for me that I think have no chance to win this tournament, but I think they could start really hot and they play well on links. I think Wyndham Clark is one. We've seen Wyndham Clark play really well Thursdays and Fridays recently too, and then he just completely goes in the woods or wherever on Saturdays and Sundays. I think Clark at an 80, 90 to 1 first round leader price is going to be a lot of fun on Thursday. I think Tom Kim also, for some reason, he plays well on links courses. And I know Keith's laughing because how can I keep betting Tom Kim and I'm just banging my head against the wall, but he plays better on these courses, and I'm going to try it. And one more other big bomb, and it's the same one that I give you guys seemingly every major, because I don't know why he's always there, is Matthew Pavon. He's like 150, 160 to 1 for first-round leader. The guy hangs around on the first round at these tough courses, major championships. I don't think he's got no shot to win, but on Thursday, could be a warrior for us. But as Keith mentioned, too, got to get the order of when they're going out on Thursday. I think for this, because it's not split tees, it's not afternoon and AM. They're going out consistently off of that first tee. When they're going out, very important. Let's do some outrights when we come back. Coast to Coast Open Championship Preview Show next on the grid.
New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try Blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Time for the Blue Jays to really make another addition at the deadline. They just got Max Scherzer back. Can they get another pitcher to help out with the pitching staff, which I still think is their biggest issue? They're looking in to be in a good spot right now.
And also, Tom, like just the evolution of handicapping, right? Early in the season, I don't want to take this Blue Jays lineup. It's really bad. Now the past couple weeks, every day I'm looking at the Blue Jays going ooh, team total, RBI chances, guys that were in household names at the beginning of the year.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Scrounge out a couple of quarters from under the couch to go trade for somebody who actually makes some money. I don't think that he would actually do that. That's not in Hal's style the last couple of years, especially in season. I saw they signed that Heimer Candelario, who the Reds released. That's more their style, going the discount aisle as opposed to trading for someone who's actually having a huge year like Suarez.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
They're still trying to throw Dalton Knecht's name in trades, and I don't even know if he's viewed as a positive asset still.
And that's a crazy thing. Dalton Knecht, if you look at FanDuel, Dalton Knecht 20-plus points at plus 120. He's giving you no indication that he's that right there. I mean, Kevin, I would be more likely if we knew we were going to get the minutes. Bronny James, 10-plus points at plus 118.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
And we are back. The Coast to Coast Open Championship preview. Of course, the 153rd Open at Royal Portrush coming up this week. Mike Carver here with you, along with Cam Stewart, Keith Stewart from Read the Line, Brady Kannon, as we get ready for the Open. Let's do some outrights now. Now, look, it's still very early in the week. All four of us, of course, are still building all of our cards. I know on Golf Wednesday, we're still going to go through even more, our full cards, etc. But we got to have some guys that either we've had in the pocket for a little while or some early looks that we are already circling for this week at Portrush. Brady, why don't we start with you? Who do you got your eyes on here for outrights?
I made these bets right after the U.S. Open, Mike. I was very impressed with Jon Rahm. He was fourth in that field for strokes gained tee to green at Oakmont. If he could have made a putt, he probably would have won his second U.S. Open title. He's got the chops for links. He's won the Irish Open a couple of times. 3 out of the last 4 British Opens, he's finished top 7. So I think Jon Rahm is great value. I got him at 14. I've seen him as low as 10 now with the adjusted odds coming out early in the week. But, you know, you look at McIlroy and Scheffler, and I really think Rahm is probably the second best player in the world right now, runner-up in Spain last week. So I think, you know, double digits on this guy is a pretty good number. Then I went with Tyrrell Hatton, another LIV player who's been red hot, nearly won the United States Open himself there at Oakmont with what ended up being a 4th place finish. This guy has won. He has the links chops as well, has won the Alfred Dunhill Championship, a record 3 times, and back in 2019 finished 6th here at Royal Portrush. So I love Hatton this week, got him at 30. I've seen as low as 25. I've seen 30s out there as well. Maybe you'll find even higher as the week rolls on here. Again, like we're continuing to say, depending on when these tee times are, when these pairings come out, and how they factor in versus the weather. And then finally, a long shot that has really, you know, been showing up at Opens lately. A runner-up at Royal Liverpool, 12th last year. Guy's been good in big tournaments this year. He's been playing great in signature events. He was 8th at the Masters, and that's Jason Day. Now, he missed the cut here in 2019 at Royal Portrush, but I talked about these elevated greens, a little different than the bump and run style of the Texas wedge that we see a lot of these open venues. The high ball that Jason Day hits could fare well here with these tiny greens. We know the kind of success he's had at Pebble Beach, maybe a little correlation there. So I thought Jason Day at 80 to 1. I think his number ought to be closer to 65 to 75 to 1. I thought 80 was a pretty good price on the Australian.
He certainly is, Jason Day being that high down the board. Cam, why don't you give us a different spin on a very similar board that you have to Brady here?
Yeah, well, I'm with Brady on Hatton. I think Hatton is the play. Let's remember something. He had a bad 75 at the Masters, T14, and he finished T4 at the U.S. Open. I'm all in. He had one bad hole at the U.S. Open where he went nuts and started smashing his club. Well, that's Ty Hatton. But he's also been really good. Brady talked about it. Alfred Dunhill links, he won even in the sand and the other LIV event earlier on in the year. So this guy's money. Finished 6th last week at the LIV event. Could have been even better, Carver. I'm going to tell you something. But here we go. I like Rahm. I like Hatton. We're all not doing the same thing. The little lefty that could, it's Brian Harman. Or you could say the little righty with a heart. Emiliano Grillo's your guy. What about Brian Harman? He's won an Open Championship before. I think that price is out of whack. I'm just looking at 100 to 1 going, are you kidding me? This guy can get it around. He'll hit fairways, greens, get that putter going. I think that is an insane price for Brian Harman at 100 to 1. Carver, I'm looking at some other guys too, but Harman's already made my card. I think that price is nuts. He should be around 65, 70, not 100.
Cam will have 4 or 5 more guys on Golf Wednesday on Coast to Coast, so make sure that you tune in for that. Keith Stewart from Read the Line. Give me your guys, and I love you. Always love your keys, Keith. Give me at least one key here for Royal Portrush this week.
All right, Mike, I'll give you all 3 of Keith's keys for this week. The first one has got to be approach acumen. You know, you look at that top 10 from back in 2019, which, by the way, there, Cam, Tyrrell Hatton, he was 6th, right? But you look at all those names, Hatton, Lowry, Fleetwood, Brooks, Finau, those guys are all flushers of the golf ball, right? They are absolutely spot on when it comes to approach play, long iron, short iron play. Those guys can flight it. They can control spin. You've got to be able to do that this week. The second thing is the ground game. I love the guys that played good at Oakmont. because you had to be good there, hitting spots that were away from the flag. And it's a hard thing to do. It sounds easy, but it's a hard thing to do, to change your attention and try to hit towards a blank space and then know that the ground is going to take care of the rest of that shot. And then the third thing is that, they don't do the open pictures with the ball dropping in the rough and the fescue because people are normal over there in Europe. They don't do it as much as they do over here. Our fans do and our content contributors do. But the fact of the matter is that fescue over there is going to annihilate some people. It took care of Rory in one hole last time. So, I love the guys that can hit it down the middle. Look at that top 10. Fleetwood, Lowry, Finau. I mean, these guys are a stripe show. So, those would be my keys for the week, and that's who I'm building around. So first and foremost, it makes sense that we're all on Jon Rahm. I mean, this guy is the prototype U.S. Open player. Hit fairways, hit greens, incredible ball striker. And I also think in the wind, it doesn't hurt to have a little girth, right? Look at Lowry. He was able – I think it's important to be strong. And I mean physically strong. I mean the ability to hit shots out of tough lies and to play well. I think one of the most fantastic feats that I saw last year was Jon Rahm coming out of the bad wave at Troon and finishing T7 in that Open. I mean, one major earlier, he was running around in like a Cam Stewart sandal, right? And he withdrew from Pinehurst, and he comes back in the bad wave, and he does that. I love him. And the other guy is Matt Fitzpatrick. His best finish in an Open Championship. His best finish in an Open Championship. I did it.
You didn't take him. You didn't take him. Oh, I had him last week. Oh, Keith, you're right about a lot of things, though. Matt Fitzpatrick, if he could just roll it. Like, this guy actually played great last week. He was actually good on the par fives, too. Keith, I know he's going to be on my card, but I don't want a Sunday letdown. I can't take it anymore.
Well, 3 weeks ago at the Rocket, I had Griot. Didn't have him at the John Deere. 2 weeks ago at the John Deere, I had Goddard. I can't do it again, Cam. I got to pick somebody from last week's card. And Fitz is the guy. Right. And because Fitz is ball striking it insanely, and the putter was horrible, right? And my contention last week at the Scottish was that he was going to go back to the fescue greens that he grew up on over there in the United Kingdom, and he'd putt better. Well, he did putt better. He didn't putt great, but he putt much better. And the ball striking has been absolutely exquisite. You put those two things together, and I think him at 50-1, look at those guys around 50-1. Patrick Cantlay's not walking through that door, Cam. Okay? Matt Fitzpatrick could win this thing along with Jon Rahm.
Also, watching it quickly, Carver, Matt Fitzpatrick got up and down from everywhere last week, too. Keith's right. Like his wedge game was great. Like, he was in like 70, 80 feet away. Just hit a couple putts and keep it down the middle. He'll definitely be there.
I'm not going to lie. I picked up a 90-1 Matthew Fitzpatrick a little while back. So I have a 90-1 Matthew Fitzpatrick for the Open Championship. And it wasn't too long ago either. Couple days ago, even.
Johnny
Knuckles still offering that.
90-1.
Just for full disclosure here, I'm on Jon Rahm as well. But for the sake of us not all having the same guy on all four of our graphics, even though everyone's on Jon Rahm anyway, I didn't put him on my graphic. I did put the Irish Bear. Now, look, this is more of a sentimental play. This guy's been burning me a lot this year. I think he's more of a fast starter this year than a good finisher. We've seen that. I think the week off last week will help him. And when I saw him at 20-1 last week, I wasn't going to play him. I said to myself, wow, I'm actually not going to play Shane Lowry at the Open Championship. Dropped down in the 30s at a few spots. Now I'm in. So Shane Lowry. And how about Sepp Straka in the 60s? Yes, sir. Accurate driver of the golf ball. Can putt a little bit. Has won a signature event this year. Multiple-time winner. Keith's shaking the head. He don't like Seppi this week. No good for Seppi.
What weekend has he played in a major this year, Mike? What weekend?
Okay. I don't know, Keith. He had some bad holes, and he still did pretty good last week. He was there. He was there.
The number spoke to me, Keith, at 60. At 60, the number spoke to me.
He won the Truist before Quail.
Yeah, whatever. We have Fitzpatrick. Let him take Straka.
We're back after this.
His run in Salt Lake is over, but obviously the intimidation of a guy that's been around that long in Gundy and in this guy if you look at their cases, they're very similar. It's been going on forever, right? And it's time for a change, I think, in Stillwater and in Salt Lake. I got to be honest with you. And believe me, if they lose again, they're going to get rid of him.
Ferrall Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
One that really sticks out to me the most, George, and he's having a fantastic season, is James Wood of the Washington Nationals. I mean, yes, Cal Raleigh's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. He's like a candidate for MVP of the American League. But every time I look up, George, James Wood is either getting 5 hits or being walked 4 times in a game. What a season for this guy.
And he's so young. What, he 22? So what a future this kid has ahead of him.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Dude, you have a head coach in Jim Harbaugh that's proven he will cheat to win. He will win at the biggest stage and doesn't give a damn who cares or finds out, and he'll just move on. That's what I love about a coach. That's the type of coach that I want. Win at all costs. Now, also, at all costs means, like, how are we building this team? Because I actually thought Harbaugh would come in and say, okay, let me just see what the players on the roster is. We'll weed them out after a year, but there's a lot of talent. He built that foundation last year and still made the playoffs.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Online casino expansion in the U.S. is extremely slow, a lot slower than I think we all would have thought, 5 years ago as sports betting took off. But you're going to start to see, I think, next year, a few more states kind of trickle into this. On top of Maine, you had Illinois kind of talk about it. Governor J.B. Pritzker pitched it as an idea to help cut down the budget deficit. Of course, we've got a weird tax law out there.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
And we are back, the Coast to Coast Open Championship preview show, getting ready for Royal Portrush this week. Mike Carver here with you, Brady Kannon, Keith Stewart, Cam Stewart, the whole entire Quad Box Golf Wednesday crew, getting you ready for this week, the 153rd edition of the Open Championship. All right, we did some outrights. Let's do some props now, which could be placements, nationalities, however you want to go here. With some of these. Why don't we go to Keith Stewart, read the line, to get us started here with a couple of props.
Mike, I kept this simple because, as you know, we don't know the pairings yet. I'm going with consistency in this. Top 10, I love Xander Schauffele. He had a great Sunday over there in Scotland at plus 260 there on DraftKings. This guy, he has 17 career top 10s in majors out of 33 starts. So 50% of the time, this guy top 10s in a major. 11 of the last 22, which was, since COVID. He's just so well-rounded. He's such a great links player. He's the defending champion. No one's talking about this guy. His numbers approaching the high 20s. There's an extreme amount of value on him. And at plus 260 for a top 10, I love Xander to come and cash. I mean, he was top 10 again in Scotland. And then the second guy, top 20, Jordan Spieth. I'm ready to ride the roller coaster. Plus 225. Name me another guy that's got in the field that's played in the Open Championship 11 times and made 11 cuts. Jordan's made the cut every single time he's teed it up over there. He's won over in 2017. I mean, what else can you say? What Spieth in the Open Championship? The Magic Beans come out around those beans, and the guy gets it done. He makes the cut, and then if he makes the cut, low 70 in ties, as far as I'm concerned, he's got as good a chance as anybody at getting inside that top 20, and I'll take the 225 number.
Yeah, look, Jordan, I would love to see him. I like rooting for Jordan. I hope that he comes back. We haven't seen him since the leaving the Travelers with the neck, and now he's going to be back in the mix here this week. I can't wait to see him. Brady, give me a couple props.
Well, I'm with you guys 100% on rooting for Jordan Spieth and basically just, reiterating what Keith had to say. He's never missed a cut here. He won in 2017. He was a runner-up at Royal St. George's in 2021, which I think is a bit of a comparable course. He just seems, it's the Masters and the Open, our favorite majors, right? And it seems like those are the favorite majors for Jordan Spieth, too. I think he's going to be there. I don't mind to play on him for an outright win. I've seen him anywhere from 60-1 to 50-1 to 80-1. And Keith got a better number than me. I found plus 190 for a top 20. Getting better than 2-1 is really good, I think, on Jordan Spieth for a top 20. And then I'll go with another one, and I'll drop him down a little bit, give him a little bit more room. A top 30 finish with the New Zealander Ryan Fox. Saw this one at plus 140 at DraftKings. A winner at Wentworth, another Harry Colt design. Irish Open runner-up twice. So he absolutely has the links chops. This will be his 9th time playing in an Open Championship. His best finish ever was in, guess where, 2019 at Royal Portrush when he finished 16th. And as we know, of course, the guy is in red-hot form, winning twice on the PGA Tour recently. So I think Ryan Fox is going to have another good tournament. I'll take him to finish top 30 at a nice plus money price.
Yeah, nothing wrong with being in the foxhole. Me and Cam climb down there every once in a while. The foxhole's not a bad place. Ryan crazy like a fox. Cam, what about you?
Got a lot of same stuff as these guys. I got to tell you something. I got a matchup bet, and I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I'm going to tell you first before we get to the board. We got Spieth over Goddard up minus 120. Go to the bank. That is unbelievable to me. We all like Spieth this week. That's not Scotty Scheffler. I told you, this number's changed. By the time it was $130, I talked to Brady and Keith. Now it's $150. I don't care, Carver. You can lay this thing up to 2. I don't care. Scotty Scheffler is finishing top 5, but I'll take a little insurance at top 10. And Xander Schauffele, top 10. I'm with Keith. This guy played great on Sunday at the Scottish Open. He looked fantastic. Once he gets that putter rolling, he can win this tournament. He wasn't even great. He was still there. He was fantastic on Sunday. What a number. Almost 3-1 on Xander Schauffele. Sign me up.
Wow, going to Xander as well. Xander seems like a good spot. I like that top 10 as well, like you and Keith and all of us do so far. Here's where I am going to go. I'm going to go with one nationality, although I think we have already spoken either on the show or during breaks that Tom Kim for top Asian golfer. I'm already putting that in as well. Justin Rose for top Englishman at 9-1. Now, remember, top Englishman, do not do the UK and Ireland one, because then you get to throw Rory and Shane Lowry into the mix, and we don't want to do that. Justin Rose, top Englishman at 9-1. And yes, the outright for Shane Lowry is a little sentimental for me, but not the top 10, because one of two things is probably going to happen. Shane's going to hang around all weekend, be in the mix, or Shane's going to lead for 2 or 3 rounds and then completely go into tank Sunday and probably finish T10. So we're going to go Shane Lowry here with a top 10 finish at plus 260 to try and finish this thing off. So,
Carver,
look,
what did you get
yes,
Tom Kim top Asian at? Because I got top Korean plus 270, but you want all of Asia? You're greedy. I'm going greedy.
Yeah, I'm not going with just Korea for Tom Kim. I'm going for the whole entire thing. I'll get it for you in a moment here. Actually, it's 6-1.
I like that. That's how I'm down with that.
6-1.
6-1? Yes,
well,
Tommy.
There's a few guys, and like, Keith, let me ask you this. Like, I've seen some guys, and I get it, some haven't been playing very well, but there are guys that usually at the top or to the upper half of these boards that you can find numbers on this week that are just absolutely insane. I mean, Hideki Matsuyama at 80-1 at a major, that is some uncharted territory, albeit hasn't played well, but there's a lot of guys in this 70-110 range that are usually at much better prices.
I mean, you've got a guy like Keegan Bradley. You're talking about ball strikers this week. He's at 125-1 on most boards. I mean, this guy just won a couple of weeks ago, and we've seen this in the Open Championship. Guys that have won this tournament over the last couple of years have played very, very well coming in. Top 5s, wins, all of the above. And, there's one country that I'm going to play low, right, Mike? And I probably will touch on this. I know we're going to do some wild bets later, but I just want to throw this out to you. I'm going to go low Estonia for Richard Teeter. I know he's the only guy there. In fact, he's the only guy that's ever come from Estonia and played in the Open Championship, but I'm paying him to make the cut at plus 200.
Wow. How about
Estonia.
That?
What? Who is this guy?
Estonia.
I got a Fox Hoa Tung Lee parlay. Top China, top New Zealand, minus 104.
We have
Let's do it.
A little wild and crazier bets. We will finish off with those next. The Coast to Coast Open Championship preview show right here on the grid. We're back after this.
Here's a tip for my fellow golfers and gamers. Do you want to book a golf trip to Vegas? For the best weather, aim for spring and fall. But the best prices, aim for summer and winter. But if you're looking for that sweet spot, try June. You get the August prices without that scorching heat. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
And we are back. The Ferrall Coast to Coast Open Championship Preview Show right here on SportsGrid. Mike Carver here with you. Keith Stewart from Read the Line, Brady Kannon, and of course the Prime Minister Cam Stewart as we get you ready for the 153rd edition at Royal Portrush coming up this week. All right, we're going to close it out same way we did at the Open. Couple off the wall, zany, crazy, wild bets, whatever you want to call them. Something a little out of the ordinary. Cam, some would say that you're a little sometimes out of the ordinary. So I think that you have to start us off here as the Prime Minister with your wild and crazy bet.
I don't know. Keith talking about Estonia golf. Like, I didn't know they had a golf course. Anyway, great travel place. If you like 50-cent bottles of wine, go to Estonia. Anyway, who cares? Let's talk about wild plays, and I'll talk about an elder Irishman. For your love, Carver. Carver is Mr. Ireland at the grid. I'm going, oh, little Paddy Harrington. Hey, this guy's been playing good golf on the senior tour. Why can't I get a 22-1 for a top 10 for old man Harrington? I love that bet. Carver, on one of my sites, he's 18. I found a 22. That's good enough for me. Padraig Harrington, 22-1, top 10. It is in Ireland. Why not one for the old guys? I think some of these old guys might play well this week. Paddy's my guy.
I would love to see Paddy Harrington play well here in Northern Ireland at Royal Portrush. Just keep, who was it, Keith? Keep Maltby away from him, I guess. Who do you fight exactly. This season? Keep Maltby
Help
away
me find
from
my
him.
ball.
He did okay when Roger got in his grill. He won the darn tournament.
Good for Roger. Good for Roger.
Brady, you had to miss the cut last time we did this for the U.S. Open. I believe it was Justin Thomas, right, Brady? What do you got for me this time?
Yeah, we hit both Justin Thomas and Wyndham Clark at the U.S. Open to miss the cut. I'm going to bet another make or miss the cut market here with Bryson DeChambeau, and the number I saw was plus 350. He has not played that well in the Open Championship. He's missed the cut 3 times, missed the cut last year, was 60th at Royal Liverpool. We've talked about the connection there with Colt and Ebert. You look and what he did in 2022, he finished 8th at St. Andrews. I think we've already explained that course is nothing like Royal Portrush. That was calm weather that year. Cam Smith won it. It was a birdie fest at 20 under par. totally different, I believe, than what we're going to get this week. He's going to find himself in the Gunch and the Smuts and the Fescue, and I think it's going to get ugly for Bryson DeChambeau. He can't overpower this place. His biggest strength is his driver, and I don't think that's what you need here. You need a little bit of everything. He's starting to get better at Augusta, but I think primarily this guy's a PGA Championship and U.S. Open player. I don't think the British Open is his cup of tea, and I think DeChambeau will miss the cut this week.
Wow, how about that? Keith Stewart, read the line. Give me a prop, or a crazy prop.
All right, well, you guys heard me earlier. I believe that one of these top guys is going after this leaderboard early and going to go off to a fast start. And there's nobody that needs to do it more than Rory. Last time he shot 79 in the opening round. He made an 8 on the first hole. Well, a top 5 first-round leaderboard, right, for Rory is plus 500. He's plus 700 to win the tournament. So he finishes in the top 5 on Thursday. You're going to get 5-1. If you don't feel, if you want to go 10 places, you're going to get plus 250. I mean, this guy, he was great in Scotland. He is focused on this. I think he's going to go after this thing early. He would love to do it. I think he'll play aggressively. He'll be much more like that 65 in 2019 in the second round than the 79. I think he has all the motivation in the world. I'm going 5-1 on a top 5 on Thursday for Rory.
Wow, I like that, Keith. I'll be with you on that one. And for me, there's been some talk recently about Patrick Reed's chances of making the Ryder Cup team. I don't believe he's got any shot of making the Ryder Cup team. He thinks if he wins the Open Championship, that's his only ticket to town. I think he's going to play really well. The Bizarro World Captain America, who I personally would like to see on the Ryder Cup team, but I know he's not going to be there. 11-1 for Patrick Reed for a top 5 finish. I think he's going to play really well at Portrush this week, and I think he's going to give himself a shot, and he's going to come up very short, but 11-1 for Patrick Reed. That's my spot for the Bizarro World Captain America of the Ryder Cup for the American team. Patty Reed,
winner at Live Dallas recently.
Patty Reed is good in the Ryder Cup. I love him the one-on-one. He gives you a little juice, a little fire. You need some of that on the team. I know he's not going to be there. I know. It's unfortunate.
I like it, Carver. Bold.
There's your wild and crazy bets. The Open Championship preview show. Tremendous job. Brady Kannon, the Prime Minister Cam Stewart, Keith Stewart from Read the Line. Royal Portrush, baby. Let's cash some tickets. We'll see you all again on Golf Wednesday as well. Ferrall Coast to Coast Open Championship preview show. Thanks for tuning in.
Here's a tip for my fellow golfers and gamers. Do you want to book a golf trip to Vegas? For the best weather, aim for spring and fall. But the best prices, aim for summer and winter. But if you're looking for that sweet spot, try June. You get the August prices without that scorching heat. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.